I realized Critical Role was too much for me when I tried to YouTube Critical Role to start watching, and what came up was a 40-minute long video of how to watch Critical Role tutorial. That was when I knew. That was when I knew I was in over my head. It's like I opened the video and this guy's like, okay, so basically there's this, but then there's this, but you don't actually start in this, but then there's this, which is the character setup, which is optional, and then there's this, and then there's this video, and there's that video from this person's perspective and that person's perspective, and I was like, holy shit. And all the episodes of the streams are like many hours long. It's a whole thing. D&D is great. Like I started at the end of last year with me and my friend went to a public group at a pub, bar, restaurant situation. And that's good. We've been doing that since the end of last year. It's still going now. I think we might be like coming toward the end of that campaign. So that's how long it's gone on for. Kind of an idea. It is once every 2 weeks though, so it doesn't happen very often. So that should give, and it's usually like 4 hours. So that's kind of an idea of how long a beginner campaign would be. 4 hours every couple of weeks since the end of last year. But then after it, like, my friend got really into it. Like I enjoy it, but he got really into it. He's like obsessed with D&D now. So he started hosting his own on Saturday nights, which, no shade to the Tuesday group, but it's way better. Like this, like the one that Nathan did is great. He curated a group of people to come who are all great and hilarious and really cool. And honestly, it's like the highlight of my week. It's the funniest part of my week. It's hilarious. I'm usually usually like in tears laughing at something. Yeah.
Dungeon Master can make a whole world of difference. He can be a guy with a real stick up his ass and, try to go by the book too much and, it's no fun. Or he could just be some guy who he knows where to draw the line, but otherwise he knows how to have fun and he's not there to,
Have you played D&D before?
I have, but the group fell apart. So that was unfortunate.
That was just so true what you just said, that you sound like an experienced dungeon dweller, because that's like the DM is the key. Like the DM is the one who is going to dictate how everything, like how interesting everything is. It's the narrator.
He's basically the gatekeeper of can we have fun?
He literally is. Yeah, he or she, whatever. Yeah.
And they're the one doing all the work. They're the one fucking doing all the homework. Like everybody else just shows up and drinks beer. They have to plan everything out.
Imagine Dune D&D.
Wow. Anyway, I was recording the whole time, so you were the intro and you didn't even realize it non-consensually. Content Farm 16. Clyde, again, not your friend on YouTube. Link top of the description. Welcome back, Clyde.
Welcome back.
Thanks.
Peter, as always.
It's me, yep.
And basically, the three of us are just going to yap for anywhere from 90 to 120 minutes.
What's new?
I kind of want to start off just casual. I've got some topics down, but this week to begin, I really just want to ask what we've been playing.
Yeah.
Just for a change.
Well, I kind of finished up with Dune.
You finished with it?
So,
how do you finish with it?
Well, you get to a point where you're like, I'm done.
You don't know? You think you've done everything?
Yeah, I got to Endgame, and I didn't like it. It just didn't appeal to me. This whole time leveling, I've been doing the melee fights, and I love the slow attack, to pierce the shield.
Ooh, the slow stab through the shield. They worked that in so well with canon to the mechanic.
Yeah, it does. It's with the lore. It's great. It's great, and the grappling hook is so great, and the movement.
I was using the grappling hook. I couldn't figure out how to make it work properly. I think I was just
the suspension belt. Use the grappling hook, use the suspension belt immediately after you go flying.
Oh, I knew I was missing something, because I was like, this has like a 5 feet radius on it. This is fucking useless.
Yeah, you get the full suspension belt, and you just go in whatever direction you fly, and you could climb mountains in no time. It's great. It feels so good. The way they put the mobility in that game, it feels great, and even the vehicles.
Yeah.
They did a good job. Really, just like the whole progress system, I really liked in that game. It was really enjoyable, and I've played a lot of those survival crafting games. My brother loves loves the genre. So I'm always playing all these different ones. And I gotta say, this is the best one because it makes gathering resources fun, you know? Like, you don't see that much. And even just breaking rocks apart, you gotta, it makes a little mark in the rock. You gotta hit it right with your laser and stuff. Like, it's really cool. And then when you do it, and it explodes, and you get it all at once.
The first
you don't
time,
have to like pick up each piece off the ground or something monotonous.
The first time I saw that mechanic where you shoot the line, I was like, "This is triggering my like ADHD in the best way possible." That's so unbelievably satisfying. It's kind of like it's like drawing the line between you're actually slicing it up, but then you just get all the stuff like it pops out. It's satisfying. That's a cool idea. Same with like when you dismantle vehicles and scraps of metal and stuff, you have to like cut the seams around the edges and doors and stuff. Clyde's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask Peter, I'm curious because I come from like an MMO background, but I don't know that I've ever played an open world like survival game to like what you would consider endgame. So what does endgame look like?
I was about to ask the same thing.
Dune? Is it like, is there raids or is like, what does it look like?
So in Dune, the whole beginning, you're in this place called Haga Basin. That's just where you start, and it's just straight up PvE, no PvP at all whatsoever. And then when you start getting toward the end game, like the second to last and the last tier of gear, then you start moving up to this place called the open desert, and it's just this massive desert that's just open. And it's dotted with little points of interest here and there, but the thing is, when you're in the desert, it's PvP, free for all. And so like, and the main point is you get spice. You see the spice flows, and you go and you gather it up, and then you can use it to craft high quality items. You can trade it for a bunch of money or whatever, and the whole time you're trying to watch out for the sandworm, which is an awesome mechanic.
So cool. It's so cool.
Brilliant the way they put it in. I love it. It's great. It's always around. Whenever you're on open sand, you got a little meter that kind of comes, and you have to watch it. And when it's too much, the music swells up and it pops up, and you just run for your. If it eats you, it gets all your gear. You're just wiped. Dang. Yeah. So like you're just running. It's actually puts fear in you. It's so great. And anyways, you get out in the desert, and that's it. You're gathering spice. You're hitting a couple wreckages, and you're fighting the same NPCs you're fighting the entire time in Haga Basin. It just felt very repetitive. Okay. It didn't feel new. And when I did have some player versus player battles, it just didn't click. It felt clunky and like and a lot of the time in the open world PvP, it's just who has the most numbers. Who has their most buddies on at once. And because it's survival crafting now, it's who has the best machinery, who has the most upgrades, and a lot of it is with vehicles, and very little of it is actually on ground. So there's a lot of focus on that. And of course, if your vehicle gets blown up, then you have to get another one. And for me, at my point, that means going out and getting more resources and stuff. And like, I'm someone who likes mostly playing FPS games where when you die, you respawn, then 10 to 15 seconds you're back in the action, like having to get your shit blown up and then you got to go and farm for like half an hour. Like, no, it did not appeal to me. So I mean, unfortunate, but I really liked how
you still got like 150 hours out of the game, right? Before you reached that point.
Yeah, I still got at least that much time. So I did get well my money's worth, and I definitely recommend it if you like that genre. But Endgame just wasn't for me, and it's really hard to get a good endgame in survival crafting, right? Like I don't think I've ever seen it done right, because it's always something to do with the build up or you have too much grinding or some of this stuff. So but for what they had, it was great, and seeing all the stuff, the lore accurate stuff, that was pretty cool. My only gripe is that they had a lot of like there's 6 Dune books, okay? And that's a lot of material for them to just reach into and grab like names of people, events that had happened, quotes, stuff like that. And like a lot of the quests and stuff, they're just kind of like they were written by people who didn't read the book,
Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh, we'll just take Arabian names and throw it in there. Nobody will know the difference. It's like, oh, come on, man. Like, so that. But that was kind of like, whatever. I'm the kind of person who most of the time, if the story doesn't appeal to me, I'll just skip over it.
That's what I started doing very quickly in that game.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good you do that because the story is just nothing burger.
Decided it wasn't for me. I like it's the typical, like, this happens a lot in these MMO style games where there's just one character and you follow them around and they keep saying like, meet me at this place, and then you go and they're like, oh, sorry, I have to postpone, or like, oh, you'll see me again at this place, and then they go to the other side of the map and then you follow them and meet them. I feel like that's the setup for a lot of MMO games because it's basically just an excuse for an NPC to tour you around the map. I feel like that's how MMO stories work sometimes. But yeah, the end game, like, I will say, but getting the like farming for the spice looks crazy because I've seen people doing it on like Twitch and shit. You have to get in there with the helicopters and then drop your vehicle, or like I don't know if you have to do it this way. I have no idea. But like, when you have the vehicle, you'll drop the vehicle and then do the harvesting,
pick it back up. But when you don't, otherwise you just jump out of the thopter and you just
start picking it up
and grab it yourself.
Yeah.
Start picking it up.
That's cool. Yeah, and you're on a time limit because the place, the little area where the spice will be eaten by the worm at some point. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, right?
Right. So not only do you have to worry about the regular sandworm, but you have to worry about the old man of the desert, the big boy, the one from the movie where it just comes and it just swallows this entire several acres, and so it's very cool.
It's very cool.
It is very cool. It's cool how they did
the fact that works in like a live online setting is really cool. Like, and it seems to be not that glitchy from what I've seen either. It just kind of works. That's very cool. It's very well done. I've seen some clips that look like it would piss me right off of people like stealing people's bases like Rust style in the PvP area, because it works like I think this works like Rust with the beds, where if you find like other players' command modules in their huge multi-story bases, then you can take over the entire base and immediately gain like all of their power and resources, which is
I'm not completely sure how that works, but I think
I might be wrong. I thought I saw a video of
break into their bases. I think you can break into their. I don't know how.
I would be.
I've seen people use like laser guns and stuff, but the thing is, it's the bases that are in the open desert.
Yeah.
So you've got your main base you've been working on the whole game in Haga Basin, and then you have the open desert. And the thing about the desert is every week it resets.
Yep.
So you don't have a permanent base there. That's just kind of like your temporary base. So you don't have a lot of shit there, So it's very minimal most of the time. So it's not a big loss if it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I hear it's something that the base can do. And something else that pissed me off and probably led to me not playing it is there's a lot of hacking going on.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it myself with the videos, that they show, and then when I was in the open desert, I heard them talking about it in chat, and something else that was huge is duping was apparently really big. So like here I am like gathering my materials like a dumbass, and this other guy just like presses some buttons and now he's got like 12 helicopters. And if he blows up my one helicopter, I got to go back and farm for a half hour or something, So that really, made me not want to play the game anymore.
That's a big off. And
yeah. And, I hear, like I said, I hear in the chat, they talk about the players who are using like speed hacks or they're shooting through the ground and all that stuff. And I've seen the videos of even worse stuff. So, and from what I've heard of Conan, that's pretty common for these guys' kind of video game. So it's very unfortunate and it was preventable, but I mean, if I liked Endgame, that would have been tragic, but I don't. So it was really easy for me to disengage. But just another sad thing about the end of the game that you won't see that won't bother you for the first 90% of the game.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, but it's just something else that just irks me.
I applaud you, Peter. Like you have such a like positive mindset. Like you're to me, you're the ultra fan of Dune. Like you've read the books, you know the deep lore. You're like really freaking excited to like get into the lore of the factions.
I love it.
And then you show up and they all have like a bunch of Arabian names. I would have flipped my pancake, dude.
Yeah.
I would have lost my mind.
Let me tell you. Okay, so the whole setup is it's an alternate universe, okay?
Yeah.
So like in Dune, like prescience is a really big thing. Like being able to see the future. Like that's an ability that several people have, and some people get really good at it. And so he sees a vision of the future where, Paul Atreides, the main guy. Yeah, Lisan al-Gaib.
Lisan al-Gaib.
He sees a version of the future where he wasn't born, and like this is that version where he wasn't born. So it's like this. It's not what happens in the book, So that kind of hand waves their whole, well, we can do whatever because this isn't actual. So and on that point, the Fremen, which is kind of like some of the main people of the book, they're like eliminated.
Really?
And I'm like, no, they wouldn't get no, that wouldn't happen. And by the Sardaukar of everyone, I'm like, no, that's
Sardaukar. Oh no.
Yeah, so I was furious.
Yeah.
I was just like, no, that they would never have to have. Oh god. So
everyone else is out there like harvesting their crystals, and you're over here like, but what about the Fremen, man? What about the Fremen? Like people are like, shut up and play the game.
Can't believe what they did with the Fremen. Oh, they did the Fremen so wrong. God damn it.
Yeah, something that I think is so cool about that game is how the vehicles work. Like,
yeah,
even just with the sand bike and the car as well, whatever it's called, the little buggy. Like the way you build them, Clyde, basically is you fabricate each like individual component for a vehicle, and then you kind of build it like Lego, but like automated, where you put the pieces in and then you use like a welding gun to weld the pieces together. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, but especially later in the game, you can kind of choose what parts. Well, yeah, you can kind of choose what parts you put on. So like you can, instead of using like a standard battery, you can fabricate like a like a very good battery.
Well,
because
you can do that at the beginning.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, even with the starter standby, you get different versions of the
you do
the parts.
Yeah,
and some of the versions are like unique with like special properties and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And like there's like a utility part on the sand bike. Like you can put an inventory on it, so you can like dump your items on, which is super cool.
Or
you can put like a boost on it, so you go faster. It's like, I kind of want it to take all my, stuff so I can carry more, but I kind of want to not die from the sandboard.
I chose the chest because I was worried about not having enough inventory space.
Right. What I did is I carried an inventory piece on me and a boost piece on me. Whatever wasn't on the bike, I'd carry it with me so I could just swap them out.
Oh, that's clever.
So I'd keep the boost on it, and whenever my inventory was full, I'd put the inventory on it, and then I'd put that in. And that was great. Like how they did the vehicles was really
It's basically
sweet.
It's fully modular vehicle building, basically. Like you can modularly build vehicles in the game, and like the buggies as well. You can put like different weapons or lasers on top and stuff, and change all of the components. I assume that works all the way up to like the helicopters as well.
The Thopters, yeah.
It's very cool. It's really, really cool. You make some cool fucking vehicles as well. Like you make like transport ornithopters and stuff. And transport vehicle, like ground vehicles, like the game's got a lot of fucking.
Yeah,
it's very
technical.
technical.
You can store them in your gun. If you're just done driving, you don't know about the vehicle storage?
I don't think so.
Oh man, you get a gun or like a tool, utility or whatever, and it stores vehicles. So you just point it at the vehicle, you click it, and it's gone. It's in the gun now. So whenever you need it again, you pull out the gun, you click it, boom, it's back out.
That's hilarious.
It's
That's
like,
great.
It's super useful.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they're just so satisfying to drive too,
The good driving is good, yeah.
Yeah. And what's great is like they're really generous with the fall damage. So you can just drive them right off a cliff and just like hit 20 rocks on the way down. I personally haven't
tried that. That sounds way too sketchy.
Oh, try it. There's like 0 fall damage. Trust me,
Yeah.
it's fun.
The
But yeah,
idea-
just even the Thopters.
Yeah. It's the game's so cinematic, especially for like a multiplayer game. The graphics in it are very good, and when just riding the sandbike across the dunes, you feel so cool. I feel like I'm in the movie. Like the sand kicks up everywhere. You know, you drive past people's bases and stuff. You drive past little enemy encampments. It's very cinematic. The game looks and feels great. You know, you hear the rumbling of the worm coming, so you kind of dodge out, evade out the way a little bit, stay towards the rocks. It's very good. It's just constantly Dune. You always feel like you're doing something Dune specific with the mechanics.
And the survival parts of it is really well integrated, both with the lore and just how it puts it in the game. Because like in the book, like the sun, like they have 3 suns on this planet.
Yeah.
So daytime is hot.
It's very hot.
Like it will burn. So like being exposed in the sun will like give you like this meter, and once it gets full, then like your
water starts to drain.
Your water usage goes low, and the water is really important. You know, like there's no like eating, there's no like pooping or any of that crap. It's just water.
Just water.
And the thing is,
water.
Yeah, it's just water. And when you keep your water full, you have like stamina buffs and stuff like that. Yeah. And when you run out of water, you just immediately go down. You don't go, oh, I'm thirsty. You're just dropped to the ground, like you're downed.
And if you have enough water, you can come back to life.
And if you have extra water, you can pick yourself back up. So it's really useful. And then they integrate it with the crafting too. So a lot of the recipes for stuff need water. Yeah. So a lot of points of the game, you're gathering water at various, amounts and intervals, and you're getting bigger tools to get water. You're going from like using like a little scythe-looking thing and collecting dew, at the beginning, and then at the end you're using these massive machines you're putting on your base, just like suck it from from the air. So that's really well put in and lore accurate too. So that bravo for the way they
could have. What I love about that is that, especially like with the sun and stuff, they could have really easily not done that. Because they could have just been like, no, we don't want to like give people too much trouble. We want people to be comfortable. It's like a Dune game, Imagine if you were playing a game and being outside was like painful. That'd be terrible, right? No, it's actually really cool in a survival game. They could have really easily not done that, but they made the decision to try and to be like, we're gonna put like the Dune game. We're gonna put the Dune universe first. We're gonna put the Dune stuff in the game.
Was there any lore that you felt like was completely twisted or completely distorted for the sake of this game, or did they mostly just ignore it, or was there anything that you were like, wow, they've really just gone ham with this lore and reinterpreted this in a wild way?
Ignoring that the Fremen are canon to have died in the game, which upset me so much because that wouldn't happen. That just wouldn't happen. And they're so important to the story of Dune that I'm just like, bro, no, that's like Lord of the Rings, and you're like, but all the hobbits are dead, and you're like, hold up.
Hashtag not my Dune.
Kind of like, not my. So that's but outside of that, I mean,
I was just curious. Taylor and I, we've been watching a TV show recently, the last couple weeks, from the 2010s. It's a show called Gotham, and it was on Fox, and it is a reinterpretation of Batman's origin story, and fans either love it or they hate it. There's really no in between. Like, people either really like it or really hate it. And I guess I was just curious if Dune had a similar situation where they kind of decided at some point to just go crazy and throw paint at the wall and see what stuck. That's Gotham's biggest strength, is that it at a certain point they got 5 seasons out of the show, but they realized after season 1 or 2 season 1 was very much like a procedural, Jim Gordon catching a bad guy every episode, and it's very boring and very formulaic. But at a certain point, they realized fans are just here to see like crazy non-canon interpretations of these villains, like Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy and all these characters. So they just go nuts. At a certain point, around season 3, season 4, the show really finds its footing and just becomes a totally insane interpretation of Batman, unlike anything you've ever seen before. And fans really embraced it and loved it. And I was curious if Dune had a similar situation. There is one funny thing I'll say in Gotham, which is that like they clearly DC Comics clearly didn't want them using certain terms, so they have to dance around certain Batman terms.
I hate when IPs do that. Like Spider-Man do it all the time and shit. I hate it.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah, they can't say the word Joker. They can't say Joker. They can't say Batman. So they have to dance around. Like there's a guy who's
why
very
make the
clearly
show?
This universe. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's flying mammal person.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's definitely wild and it's funny. And I was curious if Dune had a similar situation, or it just sounds like for Dune though, they just didn't go far enough in that direction.
I don't think the Dune game is just very serious on story at all. Really, am I right, Peter? There's not that much story in it.
I mean, there's a few things. None of them are deep. Like for the most part, they got like who the Mentats are and the Atreides and the Harkonnen. Like the thing is in the book, like the Paul Atreides, he's like the main guy, and like he's not there. So it's kind of like if you had a game that took place in the world of Harry Potter and it didn't have Harry Potter, and you'd be like, how did it compare to the book? It's like, well, you don't have Harry Potter doing all this stuff, so and yet the school is there, and these type of wizards exist, and so on one hand you'd have like I'd say, and this is kind of nitpicking, like people would train to be Mentats, or like would train to be Ben Gesserits, from youth, and it's something that you train as a child and you still might not even make it, and then this is something that kind of like the player does a quest and it's like, oh, yep, now you're one, so it's kind of like a little hand wave thing, but it's kind of cool because like, oh yeah, I'm a Mentat, it's kind of part of the power fantasy, so I kind of see how that goes, and each time you do one, like you unlock a different part of your skill tree and stuff, so it's kind of interesting how they integrated that.
That happened to me with Atreides. I just did like a menial task for a guy, and he was like, "You're an Atreides now." That's basically how it worked.
It was that easy. I'm an Atreides now. Like, let's go.
Yeah. I'll say one thing. The largest difference between the book and the game is if you've read the book, it is some of the heaviest, the hardest to read story that's not like Old English or something like that. Like it's really like internal dialogue heavy. There's a lot of philosophical stuff, very heavy philosophical, a lot of flowery language,
Interesting.
So many times I've had to reread passages to try to get what they mean. Sometimes I've read entire paragraphs and I'd be like, I don't know what that said. But at the same time, it's deep. When you do get it, it's really interconnected. It's really well thought of. And like, and then you get to the in-game dialogue, and it's just like generic. Like, oh, hey, how's it going? We need to do this now. Okay, let's go. And it's just like, oh man, like they didn't even try.
We are Arabic clan name. Like, oh no.
Yeah, we are generic Arabic clan name. We don't worry about that stuff. So that was kind of like obvious. Well, you can't duplicate his writing, but you can at least try to get close to it or something.
To be canon, at least.
Yeah. I'm glad you had a good time with it. I'm glad you had a great time with Dune Awakening. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah. I definitely recommend it if you like Dune, or if you like survival crafting. It's definitely gonna give you a good time. Get your money's worth for sure.
Not to just blast on Dune for like an hour, but as a reaction to me enjoying the game so much, I watched both the films for the first time. I've never seen either of them before.
Oh, what'd you think?
Surprisingly positive feelings, because I feel like, how when you hear people talking about stuff and you kind of like get their impressions or like in your head a little bit, the only thing that I've heard about the new Dune, and I think there's a lot of Dune movies, but obviously I'm talking about the new ones. The thing I've heard the most from all my friends, even my friends who like slow burn material, just heard so many people say it was like boring. Like they were boring to watch, especially the second one. I heard that a lot about the second one. First one as well being boring. And I don't know if it's just because I had that expectation from years of hearing that, but I really didn't find either of them boring. I thought they were like not boring films at all. In fact, the first movie I think has like 3 or 4 like big action set pieces in it, which I feel like is on par, if not slightly more than like a lot of films. So I don't really understand that. Obviously, it maybe in regards to like dialogue and characters and stuff, but again, I really don't. I was quite locked in while I was watching it, the first one. I didn't like.
So, I could see that. Like I said, the book's really internal dialogue heavy.
Yeah.
Like people will be having a conversation, and like as someone's replying, they're like giving you insight on what they're thinking about what they're saying, and you're actually hearing them analyze what the other person is saying. Like there's so much thought going into just a plain conversation. It's wild. And so having to convert that to a movie, like you can't just throw. So it's very difficult. I think someone called it the most difficult book to turn into a movie, which I think is part of why it's been so difficult. It's been there was a movie like in the 70s or 80s, and then there was a mini series in like the 90s or something like that. So they tried, and so the way they did it this time is they really broke it down, and they added bits and pieces here, and like there's a lot of nuance, and like the more you pay attention to it, the more you pick up. And if you're just someone who's just like waiting for the next action scene to pop up, you might not like it. And another part of the charm is like they did a really good job with like the sets and the costumes.
Oh, it looks fantastic.
And, like, the whole vibe of it's really well done. So like it's like there's at least that to get into. So if you're not enjoying that part of it, then I could easily see you just not liking it. But for what they had, they did a damn good job. And man, that's definitely a theater movie, I gotta say. It was great watching that in IMAX with the big wraparound screen.
Oh,
man,
shit, yeah.
The sandworm coming out. Oh, man, that was, yes, shoveling that.
Did you get the sandworm popcorn bucket? Did you see the sandworm popcorn bucket?
They weren't selling it, but
yeah, I think you're exactly right, though. It's one of those things where like paying attention and listening was like, even right, I remember right at the beginning of the first film, even in the first like 10-15 minutes, they were talking like they were giving like it's not one of the movies where someone sits in front of the screen, looks into the camera and says like, this is the Atreides, this is Arrakis, this is what happens on Arrakis. It's instead of doing that, it's like people are talking, and for reasons that make sense to them in the context of the scene, you're finding stuff out all the time. And I found it really interesting because people were speaking about Arrakis and how hostile it is to live on because of the conditions. And the worms come up sometimes because obviously I remember the first time you hear about the worms, Paul is like in Arrakis in like his bedroom, and there's like a hologram documentary explaining the worms, like where they're from, how they grow, how to that's where he hears about the sand walking for the first time, which is another cool like interaction with the lore, because that would make sense, right? If they hunt from like rhythmic steps, then it would make sense. If you're writing this realistically, it would make sense to have a sand walk where they can't find you. So that's really cool. And the movie is basically 2 hours of that, hearing cool stuff. That was what I took out of it. Yeah,
and that's part of how they had to adapt it, because like I said, there's so much expedition, there's so much dialogue that's unsaid, and like a lot of it just talks about it, what things are, what's going on and stuff. And how do you do that in a movie? Well, you do it through what do you call it? Exposition. Where you fit into it, and like you said, you're not just looking at the camera and you're just telling people this. You have to fit it naturally into dialogue, and so that's how they pick it up. And it's very important you pick up all these pieces, because there's a reason they're there. People aren't just like bullshitting back. Hey, how was your Tuesday? Oh, it was good. They're all talking about parts of the story, and they're talking about information that you need to know for later in the story. It's all relevant, and that's because they had so much to pack into it, that it's so concentrated with all the stuff, the exposition that you need to know, right? And that was cool how they kind of fit that in with the like you said, the hologram stuff, and that he's listening to, that was kind of the most. That's the most in your face it gets with the exposition.
Yeah, but
even that felt more natural.
It made sense, right? Because it's like it's educational. He's a stranger. He's a stranger to the land. Yeah.
Right. So it was really cool how they did that. And about the sandwalk, the first time I was in the open desert and I saw the sandworm meter come, I started jiggling left and right. I go, all right, I gotta make my foot unrhythmical. Here we go. I just gotta jiggle left and right. I was like, fuck, it's coming toward me.
I'm guessing it didn't work.
It didn't work.
It's sad that they didn't include that in the game. It would have maybe been like broken.
That's what I wanted in the game, Clyde. I wanted sandwalking. They didn't do it. So that was in the book, and it's very important. But,
they should include it, but make it really hard, like a really hard mini game.
Yeah. So the sandworms, when there's like rhythmical like footsteps in the ground, it knows it's a living thing, so it'll come for it and it'll eat it. So the Fremen in the desert, they learn to walk without rhythm. They just kind of have this, they just kind of like randomly, take steps and stuff like that. And so it's like, it's kind of like this crazy part of, and it's lore accurate and stuff. And
cool lore. I like that.
It's not in the game though. So
I like stuff like that when like factions are making like are making smart decisions to like navigate around the existing lore, like things that people would actually do in real life. Sorry, go ahead, Clyde.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine. I think that's totally true. I have to point out, Sean, you've got to be in the extreme minority of people who went into Dune Awakening having not seen the movies. Like you're just like showing up day one, like being like, apparently I'm in a universe with giant sandworms. You're like, I don't know what else is going on here. Like what was that experience like? Or did you feel like you're totally like experiencing everything for the first time, or
kind of?
Like,
but Dune is so like culturally large that I knew I knew what Arrakis was. I knew about the heat, and I knew about the sandworms before, like having not seen any movies, because they're just they've been very culturally,
it's like the proto ancestor of sci-fi, you know.
That's fair.
It's like the what do they call it in evolution? Like the least common ancestor or something, like
that.
Like Dune was in like the 60s and stuff, right? Like, and it was in the desert, and they had these creatures you had to look out for, and there's these magical powers you could use to command people, and there's this boy who was he had these special powers, and like you could see a lot of like Star Wars influence in that,
There is Star Wars influence,
and Star Wars did pull a lot from it.
Yeah,
a lot of stuff was pulled from that. You can see its influence on a lot of series. So like if you work backwards, then like when you read the book, you start picking out, like seeing all these inspirations, and that's kind of what got me to read it. I just heard so much about it. I heard it was so big, and honestly, I got halfway through the first book, and I was like, man, they're glazing the fuck out of this kid. I don't get what's going on though. Like this is and I set it down, and then like a month or two later, I'm like, I gotta finish it just to say I finished it, And the thing is, the first half of the book sets up the second half of the book, right? So everything that happened, like the exposition I was talking about, it needs the whole first half of the book to tell you everything about what's going on, and then the shit hits the fan and you start to watch all the cool shit. Same with the movies too. Like the first movie, it's just setting it up, it's setting the scene, and then the second movie, that's where all the stuff comes together. Have you seen the movies, Clyde?
Yes, I have seen the movies,
okay.
And that's why I was curious if Sean was going in raw dogging the game, or if he I mean, and I think it's incredible. I feel like it surprises me that you hadn't seen the movies going in, but I'm glad that you went back and watched them, because I thought they were a lot of fun too. I thought they were really good movies.
I talked about the first movie. I still like the second movie. Second movie lost me a little bit, but the first half of the second movie, it's basically just more of the first movie. But it lost me in a few ways. First of all, I can't remember the incredibly famous actor's name who plays like the leader of the Fremen. Excuse me, but the one like the representative of the Fremen who goes and speaks to Oscar Isaac in like in the first movie. But he like in the second movie, he says nothing other than like listen al Gaib. He basically becomes.
You talking about Stilgar?
Yeah, he basically becomes Paul's private glazer for the whole movie, to the point where he's not the character anymore. The same with all of the Fremen in general. They kind of just, the only thing they say is like, we have faith in Lisan al-Gaib. We have faith in Lisan al-Gaib, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Like, someone will go over to him and say some, like, you know, some interesting dialogue, some deep shit, and he'll just be like, well, with Lisan al-Gaib, we will all be okay. Like that's his response to everything. Yeah. Also, yeah. And I feel like the second half of the movie was kind of the opposite. The second half of the movie was like really rushed. It kind of caught me off guard a little bit because they have that whole thing where they launch the nukes on the Harkonnen. Yeah. And that whole thing goes down in like 10 minutes. Like the Harkonnens just get destroyed. Like there's no significant battle. And then Paul charges in there and he's face to face with the Emperor in the space of like 15 minutes of time. And I was like, wait, all this talk over that was easy. Like there was barely any, there was barely any fight. But I'm coming across like I didn't like it. I was still having a good time while I was watching the second movie. Yeah. I thought it was still interesting. I enjoyed it, and I'm excited for the third one, I guess.
Oh yeah. I could see it feeling rushed because like they just had so much. Yeah. And they just condensed it so much. And there's a lot missing that kind of built up, who he was. And like, cause you just kind of see him and he's just like a kid. It's like, yeah, I guess, he's all right. But like I said, like in the book, they really built him up and you just realize he's something different, Yeah. And then like same thing when he meets the Fremen, they're very, cautious of him at first. And then you can slowly see how he starts to impress them with his ability, and he really catches on to their culture, and before you know it, he's one of them, and like the progression is really great, but they don't have the time to do that in the movie.
This is why, like you said, it's so hard to adapt. Like this is why.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Like and dude, this is book 1, by the way. The first and second movie, they're book 1.
Okay.
So this is the first book. 5 more
books to go.
There's 5 more books to go. So this is just the first book, and they've broken it too. Like Harry Potter didn't do that till like what, like the 5th or 6th book or something like that. This is the first book, and they're breaking it into. So that just tells you how much there was to do here. And let me tell you, man, as someone who read the books, the story just goes off the rails, man.
Really?
Like I can't wait to see where the movies go, because like if the first movie was hard to do, like later on in the series, it just gets like, there's no way they can make a movie about like the 4th book, and the 3rd will be like really hard. So
is there going to be more than 3 movies then?
I hope so, dude. I hope so. But
I was under the impression it was the last. I don't know where I heard that from, but maybe I just made that up. I hope I made that up because obviously I'd like to see it.
Well, it's going to be the second book now, Dune Messiah.
Yeah.
And so it all depends, honestly, like, and I really hate to say it, but it's all going to depend on how well the movie does, right? I mean, because if it's a flop, they're going to be like, no more movies. But if it's huge, if it's massive, they're going to be like, we'll find a way. We will make the next one. And I hope to God it's like that, because not only do I really like how they did it, like I love the visuals, and the actors are really good at what they're doing. Zendaya, not as much, but she's in everything. You can't ignore her.
I actually think she's okay in Dune.
What can you do? She's okay, but she also doesn't have many lines. So,
she doesn't know. She plays she was foreshadowed a lot in the first movie. She doesn't, but then she doesn't even have that big of a part in the second movie. She, like you said, she barely has. She doesn't even have that many lines. It's strange.
Right. It kind of comes into play later,
again, it feels like it's just trying to fit in a lot of things.
It was, because she was a bit more important than it's waving to, and she becomes more important now. Like at the end,
she left
at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
like he goes to marry the one girl, and she gets all pissed off and stuff. But and it doesn't talk about that, because the whole reason he did it was to secure his place as the emperor.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I don't think it dug deep enough into that. So a lot of people are like, oh my God, why would he do that to her?
But he but in fairness, in defense of the movie, he turns to her and says, like, no matter what, I will always love you. Like right before he does his thing with Florence Pugh. So for me, that was the confirmation that he's basically telling her, like, I don't actually love this other woman. This is just, this is political. Yeah, that's how I.
Yeah, but it's just one line in the movie, whereas in the book, it's
a whole thing.
It's a whole thing. So I won't spoil it, But
No, of course.
God, that is Lawrence Pugh. I had forgotten that was Lawrence Pugh. Oh my gosh.
Florence Pugh.
That's so
Yeah.
Florence Pugh. I had forgotten that was Florence Pugh. I said Lawrence.
And
that
then the Emperor was
though.
Christopher Walken. That was great.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And
God.
it was the most serious role I've ever seen him play. Like, right? Because even when he has other serious roles, he kind of has some Walken, in it. But in this one, he was just straight edged, all business. So it was crazy.
Exact same case for Dave Bautista, the most serious role anyone's ever seen him
most
play.
Serious I've seen Dave. Yeah, and he nailed that role too.
He was
really
great.
Good.
Yeah, he came across as like big and angry, but also like a pussy as well. Like he was very clearly like afraid of his uncle.
The character is the God, I forget his name.
The main
Baron Harkonnen. Yeah, that was really well done too.
That's Stellan Skarsgård from my favorite character in Andor is the Baron.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, Andor, pretty good. Did we ever talk about season 2?
Yeah, we did briefly, but yeah.
Okay.
That's I still haven't stopped thinking about Andor season 2. That's like I hope that's a TV show that like lives on forever and is like, people look back at it in like 20 years and they're like, wasn't that the best Star Wars thing?
It was. I think it's the best Star Wars adaptation, and it's like the least fantasy Star Wars. There's no Jedi. Like when there's alien creatures, they're just kind of in the background, or like you'll talk to them. It's in the Star Wars universe. And it's like the most serious Star Wars. And yet, it's one of the best. It's crazy because Star Wars is usually so, kind of silly, or like George Lucas. It's made for children. Like this is the first one. Like it feels like it's for adults, right?
Yeah. And I think it's just I just think in terms of consistency and quality, and just the quality of the writing, I think it's easily the best Star Wars media. And that I know that's heresy. But I love the original trilogy as well. I even enjoy prequels like Revenge of the Sith. Mm-hmm. But like, in my opinion, Andor is like, obviously comparing them to the original trilogy is weird because that's a very old. Yeah. Like in hindsight, you can say a lot of things about those movies, but still, even considering that, I think Andor is still superior to all of the movies. It's just so. It's 24 perfect episodes. There's not a single wasted second of time. Everything is planned. Every character has like the neatest tie-up ever. Like satisfactory. Every single character.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, they're all interesting. They got their own story, and you don't feel like it's wasting your time. I think there's only like a couple scenes on season 2 near the end where it was where he was fighting with his girlfriend or something. And it was really weird, like how they'd fight about like nothingness, because when they escaped, and the guy died, like they're both mad about it, and like they're both arguing about how they're mad about it. And I thought that was the only part of the series where I'm like, why is this argument happening?
I don't really remember.
Outside of that, everything else, it had a reason. It's all connected. It was really cool the way it progressed. And everything linked to each other, There was it was really nice.
There was characters who were in season 1 who also like came out of their shell in season 2 as well. Like the I can't remember his name, the young man who goes off with Saw Gerrera, the son of like the tech shop owner from the bomb maker. Yeah. And he has that cool scene with Saw Gerrera where he takes off his mask and starts huffing the fumes, and which is basically like metaphorical for him like being radicalized, like he's taking in the like I don't give a fuck anymore. Like the speech Saw Gerrera gives to him is fantastic. There's so many little moments that are like Emmy winning, in my opinion. So many little moments. It's just every episode has like the one thing where you're like, wow, that makes all of it worth it.
I've got a favorite character, but it might surprise y'all. I don't know what this says about my fetishes, but I am in love with the woman that plays Daedra. Like the bad lady boss.
Denise Goff. I think that's her name.
I love her. Every scene she's in, I'm like, step on me, mommy, you are eating
the
this
fuck?
script. You are eating it. She has this like look about her and this sneer about her. But, like everybody she talks to, you can tell she's like, you are nothing to me. Like she's like, get out of my way.
It took me a while to figure out, but I think she's like physically frowning, like in every like she's forcing herself to frown, and it just but it fits. It doesn't look like she's like it just looks like extreme resting bitch face, and that fits the character perfectly. Like that just works.
She has the perfect face, and the funniest thing is in like the interviews and stuff and things, she's just like the most lovely woman of all time. And she says as well that like even from a young age, her mum told her like, you've got a really mean face. like you've got a mean, and she does. She looks like a crazy psycho, ISB Imperial officer. Plays it really well, and that scene,
I love her.
Yeah, that scene where she confronts Luthen for the first time in episode 10 is oh my god, it's like heart pounding out of my chest. And he's my favorite character. I was so scared. Obviously, he did end up going out, but he went out on his own terms instead.
Yeah, but what a boss! What an absolute boss!
Legend, a legend.
The only thing I disagreed with was when he was talking to the traitor, and then he ends up killing him,
Oh yeah, that was very savage, but like that's very him.
That was unexpected, even for him.
That was unexpected.
Very unexpected.
I like genuinely, I did that was like a wait, what? He's dead? Like that was my reaction. I was like,
holy shit, he killed him.
God, he killed him. He just had a line about his wife and kid.
Yeah, right. But somehow I feel like if he was right next to me, he'd just tell me that he was dead anyways.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he would look you in the eye and say that.
Because he pretty much was. He was dead. He saved them the suffering.
You have to keep in mind as well the context of he's just learned about the Death Star for the first time. This is the most important thing that will ever happen to the Rebels in Star Wars canon. That like easily number one, the most important moment. So he's not taking any risks. Yeah, he just said he loves his wife and kid. Yeah, he's come out and he's gone out of his way over all these years for me. But like, if he tells someone, if he gets immediately interrogated right now, which he will because everyone's onto him, and tells people about Luthen and sorry, forgive me, I forgot her name. Luthen's assistant. She's a great character. What's her fucking name? Anyway, yeah, if he gets interrogated and tells about those, the whole thing is fucked. They need the Death Star information to get out, so that man has to die, otherwise he's potentially jeopardizing.
Female assistant, like she looks
we need
really
her name.
Close to Carrie Fisher. Am I wrong?
She does a bit, yeah.
No,
she looks like eerily close, like she could have played as a sister.
Leia. Like I'm like, what are you trying to confuse me?
She does. I don't know what they're doing. She looks a lot like young Carrie Fisher. Yeah, it's cool.
She does really.
I will say one of the things that blew me away the most in Andor, both in season 1 and season 2, is just whoever wrote the dialogue for that show did an outstanding job. Like, there's so many scenes that have so many great one-liners, that have so many great quotes that just stick in my head. One of my favorites is after all the drama with Daedra happens and Luthen gets free, or Axis gets free, and Krennic is like interrogating her. He's interrogating Daedra.
Krennic's great in season 2. Sorry.
He's so great, and he says like, let me tell you, Daedra, if you aren't a rebel spy, you missed your calling. Like I love his dialogue in that season. He is just so good at delivering these menacing lines. Like it's just, man, I love the dialogue. Season 1 and season 2 had some fire dialogue where I'm just like, damn, these writers are good.
Krennic is so cold in season 2. That might be one of the most intimidating interpretations of an Imperial in the franchise. Yeah. He's like, whenever he's on screen, I'm like, oh my god, he's really scaring me. I don't like him. The scene where Clea is trying to remove the monitoring device from one of the art pieces, while Krennic is in the room and he starts walking over, and then even Luthen, when they escape, Luthen makes the comment. He was like, I mean, at that point we probably should have just killed him while we were there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, fantastic scene. And that's like such a little brief moment of humor. Probably the only joke.
Or when she goes back to the hospital to make sure Luthen is dead.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Brilliant.
Incredible scene. Awesome scene. Like you're rooting her on as she goes on, and they're like, oh man, I don't want her to, but she has to. It's like, oh shit, no, and I love him, but you can't. Oh man.
What I love about that is how there's no debate, like in the show and in the fandom. There's no debate as to whether he would have wanted that or not, because it's so obvious. Like that doesn't that say something 100%. About how well a character is written? Like there's no debate, but whether Clea is going to, or whether Luthen wants to.
The fandom is like, oh my god, no, he could have, she could have saved him or something. It's like, no, he would have finished it off himself if he could.
That shows that says something about the writing and how we know what the Empire are like, we know what Clea is like, and we know what Luthen are like in the show.
That's great.
It's also testimony to how good the writing is for that character, because like with a character like Clea, I don't know if y'all remember that episode. That's basically the episode where we get her backstory with Axis.
Oh, it's one of my favorite scenes. It's one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah, it's like we don't really know how. Like that's the episode that, like, while she's going in there to kill her
and what
dad,
what a time to reveal that too. Like right at the moment where he's about because you're just like, oh man, this scene's rough, and then it goes, now hold up. Let me tell you a little story. And you're like, okay, this scene just got harder. Thank you.
It's absolutely perfect. And that scene, like,
it's
I know there's some touchy subjects in season 2, as we all know, but something about those flashbacks really was like, oh my god, that's dark. The first flashback is Luthen sitting in a ship, but he's ran away. He's like retreated back into his ship, away from his other officers. And in the background, you just hear like women and children screaming, like visceral screams, not like playtime screams. And then he gets out a flask, starts swigging, and goes, "Make it stop, make it stop, make it stop," with women and children screaming in the background. I was like, oh my god, this is the darkest thing I've ever seen in Star Wars.
Yeah,
like that's right. And we knew that was the case as well, because of the way Luthen's behaved for 2 seasons. He had to have a backstory.
He went through shit.
He went through some shit.
Yeah. He is the definition of that dude seen some shit. He's the definition of that.
Just a cold expression on his face.
Kudos to Disney for letting them do that, because they really needed it. Somebody saw the potential for them to do that. Yeah, and because I was worried, and rightfully so, because look at all the other shit that Disney made. But I think they finally struck gold on this one. Like Mandalorian was kind of fun, but they kind of really, I mean the bar is pretty low for a Star Wars spinoff that isn't trash. So it was one that I actually enjoyed. I wasn't sitting there going, oh my god, they're killing my series. It was kind of oh hey, it's a romp. It's the Mandalorian with little Yoda.
It's little Yoda, baby.
It was just harmless fun. And of course people love little baby Yoda, or whatever. But
can y'all?
I wish he would die. Sorry.
there is something about season 2 of Andor that Andor.
Andor.
My freaking text is my friend had a wife named Anna, and now every time I see a leading A, I'll say Anna, but instead of not Anna. But anyways, there is a character in a sequence in Andor season 2 that really bugs me, that like I really can't get out of my head, and I hate it. And if y'all can convince me this is actually fine, please convince me. Please change my mind. My mind is open to being changed here. I don't like how they... spoilers. I don't spoil.
I mean, we spoiled some shit already.
This whole talk is spoilers.
Yeah,
that's true. I don't like how they kill Cyril. Like, I don't like how Cyril dies, and I really was bummed out. I was expecting Cyril to have a more dramatic, interesting, epic death that meant something, and it just felt, I don't know, I didn't like it. What were your thoughts on Cyril's
Can I
death?
try and convince you? Is that okay?
Please, I want you to.
So Cyril's story and his death are a metaphor for the people who don't realize the consequences of what they're doing until it's too late. His death signifies the moment of realizing. There's literally a moment, you can see the exact moment on his face. Cassian turns to him and says, "Who are you?" And when Cyril hears that, he just freezes and drops his gun, because he's like, all this time, all this work, all this dedication, all these sleepless nights, all this trauma, the PTSD and stuff, and these people that I've been trying to take down, they don't even know who I am. Because he definitely thinks he does. He thinks that him and Cassian are in like a cat and mouse, right?
Right.
and Cassian has no idea who he is. And in the brief moments leading up to that scene as well, you see scenes of him where there's chaos erupting around him on Gorman, and he's looking around like, this is what I've dedicated my life to for the last fuck knows how many years. This is what they wanted. They used me. Dedra used me. Krennic used me. All these people used me this whole time, and I didn't realize because I was so, he was so determined. He had so much tunnel vision that he didn't realize that the thing he actually wanted this whole time was more in line with the rebellion than the Empire in actuality. And him realizing that is just, it's basically, some people don't have the happy ending you want. If this was Dave Filoni's Mandalorian, he would have held Cassian's hand, pulled out a green lightsaber, and killed all the stormtroopers. But the reality in this show is that he had chances to think about this a little bit harder. He had plenty. He looked around, he saw what was going on. It's sad, and it's not really his fault because he's been so heavily manipulated over the course of the show. But it's like brutally realistic. That's why I love it. And he gets killed by someone who he was trying to manipulate beforehand as well for information, which I thought was a nice little, slightly sad. It's not sad. I love Cyril, so it was sad, but that was like that made sense. Yeah. It's a consequence. Whole episode is him facing consequences back to back to back. Consequences for all the shit he's been doing.
He's a great character, and I love how they were able to give us that part of the Empire, like we had Daedra, but like he was also just just a whole different facet of that. But to get to your point, Clyde, I think the reason he died in most part was for so Daedra could have something, some regret for what she's doing, because like she's just like the impact isn't hitting her for what she's doing, like you see some hesitancy, but then she just kind of, she just gruffs up and goes through it. But like when this is the part that actually affects her, and now that is the turning point for her to finally see that, oh my God, what am I doing? Like I think it was very important for us to kind of see that in her. Like I really do think his death was really sudden, and especially the fight was really weird, where it's just like they just like turn to each other, you, and he's like you, and then they start throwing punches. It's very sudden.
Oh, I loved it.
It's very thrown together. Yeah. It was a big fight, but it just kind of jumps at you, and it's like, and before you know it, he's dead. But like I said,
why couldn't he have pulled out a lightsaber and a baby Yoda doll crawls up on his shoulder and says, "Buy my toys and plushies now"?
Because the baby Yoda already exists in Mandalorian, and as you know, Star Wars has to introduce new creatures so they can make new toys,
and it also has to be small. With squeaky noises.
Yeah. You're not thinking with the merchandise.
It could have been a cute robot. He could have had like, oh no, I'm not only my Jedi.
They did have a cool robot.
They do have a cool robot, and he's great.
Have a cool robot. He's one of the best robots in Star Wars, dude. Like seriously, he's like my favorite character.
He's great.
In that show,
his little stutter.
I love him.
His little stutter is so perfect. Like he's broken. Like, he's barely clinging together, which makes sense because he's from Ferrix. It's great. He's great.
I did love the show. I love the show. I did think Cyril's death is a little anticlimactic, but I guess those are some really great insights, Sean. And
that's how
I try to be a little.
Yeah, that's what I loved about it. But obviously, when I watched the episode, though, I did have a bit of what like the impression that you just gave. That definitely crossed my mind. But I thought about it, and I was like, it's maybe in the context of this show, that makes sense. That was how I was thinking of it. Yeah.
You say it's anticlimactic, but I say it's climactic because that's when they fight, and that's when and Cyril was just starting to go through the regret thing, right? Like so it was his tumbling down. He's falling, falling, and then like I said, when he hits the ground, it shifts to Daedra, and so I really like that dynamic that they had between them, and like how right at the end. It gets so rocky, and you can tell that she's just not as shaken as he is,
No,
and then he dies, and then it shifts it.
Yeah, she's him further down the line, like more committed. She's him because Cyril is not so, he's not as far down the the line of blind fascism and chaos as Dedra, but he's very close. That's why he realizes sooner, although he's still too late because the man from the Gorman man is gonna take him out, unfortunately. Dedra doesn't get Dedra, instead of choosing to instead of freezing and maybe thinking, maybe reconsidering, we'll never really know because Cyril died before he got a chance to explain himself. Instead of that, Dedra chooses the other avenue and goes crazy instead. Her confrontation in the next episode with in the next episode after episode 10 with Luthen is she's shaking. She's seething angry. She's so happy to have found Luthen that she can't contain herself. She literally says, I've been dreaming of this moment for years. She's fully lost it. She's not sane anymore. She is only thinking about finding Luthen. And
that's what makes it so great when she's able to deny, to deny him he's able to deny him. Well, just in general, and she doesn't get it.
Every time Stellan Skarsgård talks in that role, it's like the meme of the guy writing on paper and the paper setting on fire. That's what he's like when he speaks. When Dedra confronts him, it's like he's also been thinking. It feels like he's also been planning things the whole time because everything that comes out of his mouth is fire. She's like, oh, I've been looking for you this whole time. And then he immediately snaps back with shame, I've known you for so long. Because obviously he's joking that he's known about Dedra and he's been following Dedra for years. Yeah. The whole time. The whole time she's had no idea. And then
just that whole character, it just oozes confidence and badass. And I'll do what it takes no matter what, to take the Empire down. So it's always a great character, and well played.
He's menacing too. He's threatening.
Yeah. He's very menacing.
He does not fuck around.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a scene where Mon Mothma is reconsidering doing her amazing speech before that speech, where she's like, I don't know if I can do this. And then he says, I have friends everywhere in the calm tone. And then he kind of looks at her and goes, I have friends everywhere, in a very threatening tone. The implication he's making is we will make you do this. You're gonna stand out against Gorman, and even things like that.
His delivery,
it's perfect. He's such a good actor. I can't believe I wasn't. I apologize. I didn't know his game.
I'm gonna miss him so much. He was so good.
Yeah, that's what I thought immediately when he died. I was like, I didn't take this for granted enough. The character's dead now, and we know he won't come back because he's right as a competent.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do
my favorite character of the series. Yeah, no doubt. Next to the robot, but
the robot isn't even in season 2.
Over Mommy Daedra? No way. Yeah. Mommy Daedra's number 1. She's the best. I'm like, God, every scene she's in, my eyes go to her, and I'm like, I don't know who you're gonna be. You're gonna be Karening in this scene, but I love it. Just read them for filth. Every scene she's in, I love it.
She is great. She's fantastic. You know how you said Dune was flowery language?
Mm-hmm.
Andor does that so well. When Mon Mothma's giving her speech to the Senate about Gorman, she's not just saying what's happened and protesting and being passionate. She's saying instead of just saying you're all lying and anyone who believes that you're lying, you're all stupid and stuff like that. She says, the ultimate, the destruction of truth is the ultimate victory of evil, which is one of the cleanest lines in all of Star Wars. She's just cooking. Everything she says, she's cooking.
Yeah. There's a lot of that in Dune where they'll spit out lines. And you'll be like, ooh, that's clean. That's clean as fuck, boy. Yeah. So, I find it hard to recommend the book because it's so hard to read.
Really?
But I think everyone should give it a try at least. Mm-hmm. I know one friend who played the game and he started reading the book and he's like, man, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, and it's a wild journey, man. And what's great, it's really good at establishing the universe, very lore heavy. Everything is intertwined. Everything is so deep, so interconnected, and so well thought out,
Yeah.
There will never be a series like that again.
How many books is there in total? 5?
6.
Benji came to say hello. Benji, you gonna say hello?
Oh, hi, Benji.
Hi, Benji.
Hi, Benji.
Hey, Benji.
That's a big dog.
No, Benji is turning his face. He is not saying hello. He's being a buddy.
Peter, will you please tell me about the Subnautica 2 situation, seeing as it is behind you on screen right now?
My understanding of the Subnautica situation was, I don't want to say the owners, but the management, I guess you could say, of the Subnautica team. They had promised a bonus if they had released the game within a certain time frame. And so here's the team, and they said, this game is ready. In a couple months, we're ready to put it out. And we will put it out. And the thing is, like I said, if they release it, it was like within the year or something like that, then they get a bonus. And this wasn't just like, use $2,000. It's like
$250 million.
$250 million spread across the team, And so this was large. And so there's a bunch of back and forth. You have the developers saying that we were promised this money if we got the game out early, and the game is ready to go out early. So we should get the money. And then you have the management telling them, well, the game isn't ready to go out. We want you to work on it more, and you're not going to get this money. And then, back to the developers, like, you just don't want to pay us the money. Like, right? Isn't that it? And then the management's like, oh, it's only you guys are really greedy because only the co-owners are the ones who want the money, and you're not going to split it with the rest of your developers. So it's gotten really, really nasty lately, But it's... And I could see how there's there's two sides to it, because the deal just seems dumb, as far as to get it out within a certain time frame, right? And they get the money. So of course they're going to want to put it out early. And we don't know if the game is ready or not, right? We just know that they think it's ready. And but still, just the whole fact that this incentive is there for them to put the game out, whether it's ready or not, ethically, it's just doesn't seem like a good idea, right?
That's interesting. I never even thought about that side of it. But yeah, I have a couple of things to say, Clyde. I'm sure you do as well. I'll get you in a second. First of all, in the industry, a bonus is like this common, because if so, I take back everything we said last week about the Xbox devs. Fuck you, devs. You're all millionaires. Jesus Christ. Go and get a better job. Anyway, yeah. If our bonus is like that common in the industry, because that's ridiculous. So it's 250 million people $250 million between like 100 estimated people, which is, some people are making big 7-figure bonuses in that situation. That's insane. And that also makes the situation worse.
For the game development industry, where, they're having trouble keeping their jobs, period. Even if you have a successful game, there's no, guarantee that you're going to keep your job, right? So not only are they struggling to keep their job, but, people aren't getting paid like they should, and they're having to work these crunch hours. So getting that kind of money is definitely, it seems rare. And so to have that and then just yanked from them, it's just, I can understand how there's, it's probably more complicated. And since they have a lawsuit now, we're going to see a lot of stuff come out from this. But from what I've heard so far, the management doesn't seem like they've been, pulling the right moves here, right?
I've heard some more details to this. I've heard that, well, specifically, I'm sure you're aware that like the deal was a 2025 release for the bonus, or whatever the original 2025 release date they wanted would have been inside the bonus target. Okay, so the delay to 2026 would obviously take them out, but then I believe like afterward, is it Crafton? The name of the parent company, I forget.
I think so. Yeah.
But they then said, okay, well, if you release it in 2026, you'll still get a bonus. It's 50 million if you release in 2026. And we're like, come on. Also, I heard that this lawsuit, which has been opened regarding the situation, is very strong because the evidence is apparently very damning. I've read some reports that there is pages of emails of the staff of Crafton, I forget the name, literally conspiring to delay the game in order to prevent having to pay out $250 million. I believe there is solid evidence. That was getting info on that was really hard. but I believe there is actual solid proof of people saying that in order to save the company a lot of money. Which is just,
I mean, I just don't see any other reason why they'd say it's not ready. You know, like the developers of all people know what state the game is in. You know.
Yeah.
And sure, you can argue up and down the street that, you know, they just want it early so they want to get the bonus. It's like, well, fuck, wouldn't you?
Wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, that's the whole reason the bonus exists, is they want them to get it out as soon as possible, you know? So they said, we're ready. We got it, you know? And yet here we are.
I think my bonus at work is good. Imagine finding out that you have a 7-figure bonus and then finding out that you're not allowed it anymore.
Right.
Imagine how you'd feel. Oh my god. Clyde, please tell me how you feel.
I have a couple thoughts. Probably, I mean, I don't know. There's like it's like a really ugly cocktail of like 7 different things I don't want in my drink. But probably the thing that kind of just bums me the most about this story is just it's part of a trend we see of big studios letting go of their founders or their creators and kind of parting ways with their creators. Like I just did a video a couple months ago on Jagex and RuneScape, and that was very much the same situation. Is like people make this indie game RuneScape and it becomes a global phenomenon, and then they're ousted from the company or they leave, you know, on unhappy terms. You know, we saw it with Disco Elysium just a year or two ago. I mean, it's like, I don't know how, I guess it's perplexing to me that games like Subnautica have these founders, these creators who literally bring this game into existence, and then through deals and through publishers and then through these bankrolled companies, they lose complete control over the reins. And it's wild to me that you can be fired from the company you created. Like, that's just crazy to me. That's fucking crazy to me. Excuse my language. That's mind blowing to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it. I guess I'm just confused. That's one part. The other part to me is kind of like to my eye, Subnautica wasn't a game that cost that much money to make. Like Subnautica was an indie darling,
indie game,
and it was it was like an indie game, right? So it's like the idea that it needed to bankroll a sequel is just kind of surprising to me. Like, why did they feel the need to get into bed with these businessmen? Like why did they feel the need to get, you know, like do this? And I mean, I haven't seen a lot on Subnautica 2. I've watched a trailer or two, but it doesn't look shockingly next gen to me. Like I'm not saying you don't look good, Peter, but that screenshot behind you does not look that HD to my eye. It looks fine. It doesn't look like GTA 6. It's not, you know, ultra HD girls twerking on cars. So I don't know. I'm just like, I'm wondering, like, where is this like development cost coming from? Where is the budget here coming from? And is it really in the graphics, or is it something I'm missing? But
well, hopefully it's in the system, you know, in the systems and the gameplay or something like that.
I heard it's launching with fully functional co-op apparently, which is a big step up from the first game.
Oh, is it? That's cool. And that would justify a huge investment of time and energy and resources and money. I mean, that's huge. So
other than that, I maybe should have researched beforehand. I am excited for it though. I remember a few months ago I tried to find info on it, but there really wasn't much out about the game. Like a couple of months ago, because I was really into the first one for a long time. I really like it. Subnautica's fantastic. It's definitely one of those indie games that was like a gem. You like another game like it will never happen. And the second one, I remember hearing it's launching with legit co-op, and I was like, that's great. Like, that's really good. Because the first one, I think
that'll actually get people like me interested in it.
Yeah, I think people modded it in the first one. Maybe it was janky. I don't remember. Maybe not. But that was definitely something that felt like it would obviously work really well. Like, that would be really good co-op. That was one of the most immediate things I thought about the game. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Give your buddy some oxygen. I'm out of air, man. Give me some of your air. But I'm curious, Sean and Peter, do y'all think this is just part and parcel for the industry now? Like that creators regularly get fired from their own companies? Or did y'all also bump on that? I'm curious.
I don't know.
I mean,
go ahead, Pia.
I mean, what's part and parcel is like the management, the parent company giving so much say in what goes on in a game to a point that they're saying, we don't think it's done yet. We think it needs this and this and this and that. It's like, you're not developing the game, right? This is not your game. You're helping maybe produce it or fund it or, you know, some managerial aspect. But like, the developers are the ones who say this game is ready, or we think we're fine with the features.
Yeah, I didn't even
right?
think about
So
that.
just the fact that they're sitting there on their high throne going, no, we don't like where it's at right now. It's like, what leg do you have to stand on for that? It's bullshit. So just the fact that they're even able to do that in the first place is garbage, and not good for games, right? Like the whole Blizzard Activision thing. Like I'm sure Clyde is deathly familiar with that situation where Blizzard, for the longest time they just do their own thing. They're this great company. They do all these different games and different genres. They just slam dunk after slam dunk. But then they get merged with Activision, and then suddenly you start seeing these microtransactions pop up. You get these expansions that aren't as deep as they used to be. Everything just kind of feels like it was designed by a committee, and in some instances it probably was.
Yeah.
Like that's like I said, that seems to be a lot of what's happening in a lot of these bigger companies when they get bought up, and then they think they know what they can do. Or like EA, like EA will buy up these companies that have good reputations. They make good games, and then under EA they crumble. Why? Because EA sticks his hand into it, thinking that they can help guide them. But the thing is, the companies were doing fine without it, and then now that they are, it's like that manager, that doesn't do anything because he doesn't need to do anything, and so he does stuff to make people think he's doing stuff, and in doing so, he actually makes things worse.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel like for parent companies, for a lot of these video companies. The more they put their hand in where they shouldn't, the more they just fuck everything up.
Yeah. It's crazy. They can come in and fire the people who made the studio. Like that's just mind blowing to me. Like that is just absolutely mind blowing. Like
yeah. Like imagine that. Like you started the studio, it's your baby. It's like the studio is you. Like it wouldn't be there without you. There's so much.
Your picture on the wall. You're in the frame picture on the wall.
Right.
And they're like,
right.
nah, we're taking this down. Like,
yeah.
Fuck this shit.
Like people love what you do because it's you, and like it's gone like kicking out Hideo Kojima from from his own game. It just make no sense. It wouldn't be his game anymore, nor would people think of it that way.
And then to find out they're doing it because of money is even more sad. It's like
more sinister.
Wow, it's like you're not even doing it to make a good game. You're doing it just for more money. Like damn, you really are willing to just burn the studio to the ground for more money.
Yeah, yeah. If this bonus didn't exist, and I heard this company was like, we don't think the game is ready yet, I'd still be kind of leery. But at least you'd be like, okay, maybe there's they wanted some multiplayer bullshit or something. I don't know. Even though I disagree with what they had to say, I could still at least understand where they're coming from. But now that it's the money, it's like, yeah, it's just bullshit. It's just smoke and mirrors because the fact they don't want to pay, right? So,
and I also
painfully obvious.
Yeah, I find it interesting what you said earlier as well about how it's kind of morally strange to set bonuses based on time to release the game, because that encourages releasing the game unfinished, which is already a huge problem in the industry.
Right.
Games coming out all the time. It's just a strange thing to do. It's a strange way to work things.
Yeah. It is. It's. I mean, I get the whole bonus for doing something quickly thing, but I agree, especially in the game industry where products are coming uncooked, unfinished. To say, oh, you did it early, so here's extra money. So yeah, I agree. There's definitely a lot to say about that, especially in an industry that's always pushing, with all this. The crunch that's happening, right?
Yeah.
They're getting underpaid, they're getting overworked, and
those bonuses are going. The biggest chunks of those bonuses are going to the executives who aren't the people getting crunched. It's like they're the ones, pushing people to do the work, but they're the ones getting the lion's share of those bonuses.
Traditionally the developers, they get flat pay, and then when you get the big juicy money payouts, like you said, it goes to the top, which isn't fair because the actual ones doing the coding and stuff, the people making the magic happen, they don't see that.
Is it sad that I feel like we talk about this every week? That's not a good thing. That says that tells me that something's wrong. Like this comes up so often.
Well, I mean, it's a tale as old as time. Like I think people were talking about this 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago. It wasn't as much the case, in like early 2000s, stuff like that. It kind of advanced alongside video games. Like I was talking about earlier about how video games used to be something kind of nerdy, like you'd kind of do by yourself and not tell your friends about because it was kind of shameful. And then as games got more mainstream, now they have consoles that are now all the frat boys are playing them, and it's cool to play video games, and it's not seen as such a taboo. And with that, the rise of the popularity of games, and now like you got these now game companies are bigger than they've ever been. They're selling more and they're making more money, and now they have to merge with these big companies, and now it's kind of gone the same way with like VFX, where there's so many people who want to get into the industry that it's so easy just to snatch them up that you don't have to worry about retention because you just get the job done and then you can kick them out even if the game's successful, right? Even if you have VFX artists make $1 billion movie, you're under no guarantee to keep them for the next one. But it's even worse in video games because in video games, when everyone's working together on this project, you get used to how to work together. You gel, you kind of learn the systems that they have, the proprietary stuff, how they do things around there. So that it's really hard to bring someone up to speed who's new. So they're really screwing themselves over when they have these long-term devs. And they're kicking them out for, stupid, just to get someone in there who's younger, who will work for cheaper, or something. It's hurting the company. It's hurting the video games. It's hurting the people who make the games. I mean, you're right. We talk about it a lot because it's been a problem a lot. And,
There's also one other aspect to this, which I have to say, which is that like visionaries are very rare in the industry. Like there are so many copies, there are so many clones, there are so many imitators. But the people that invented Subnautica and created a new style of game and created a game that no one had ever seen before, that's a rare thing. That's a very, very rare thing. And for this hedge company to be like, we don't even care that you are visionary, we're gonna fire you anyway. That is insane to me. Like those are the exact kind of people you don't want to let walk out the door. Those are the people you want in your studio forever. You pay them whatever they ask because they come up with the next cool thing, the next great idea. It's just, to me, it's mind blowing that these parent companies are so brazen that they're just like, we don't care what you made. We're just gonna fire you and part ways over like one paycheck today. And it's like, dude, they could have made this company 10 more amazing games. They could have made a series of incredible games, and they're so obsessed with this one paycheck that they're going to cut their own nose off to spite their face. It's crazy to me. It's wild to me.
I think that's part of the transition from the small companies of people who just want to make games for fun. They like making games. They want to make a game that's fun. They have fun making games. And now you have like these massive companies who are making products, right? They're not making games. They're just wanting the money, whatever gets the money in, right? So the entire focus has changed now, and like you said, that changes a lot with the the uniqueness that we used to see. Because same thing with the movies, right? Like if you remember in the 90s, early 2000s, 80s, stuff like movies were very adventurous. We had a lot of really unique movies come out. And now, dude, we got like sequel slop left and right. And video games are kind of the same. They may not be as sequel centric, but still, like you said, there's kind of the clones and the copies. And remember when every game was trying to be a battle royale, and every game was trying to be like a World War II game, or like they go through these trends and this crap, and so I mean, you're definitely right. We need some more, and a lot of it is to blame the industry.
Subnautica's a perfect example for that as well, like being a visionary. Before we wrap Subnautica, I want to glaze it for a little bit. Such a fucking cool game. Like, whoever came up with the idea of a survival game, but the twist is you played like 98% of the game underwater is a genius. Because that's so cool The swimming mechanics are perfect. There's so many like cool vehicles that obviously they could have just set it on Earth. They didn't. This game takes place on an alien planet, which means there's life forms that you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to see next. You have no idea what you're going to see next. There's like giant squids. There's obviously the
and there's just an extra freakiness to like
extra freakiness,
swimming and
cosmic horror.
Not knowing. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
There's a lot of cosmic horror, and obviously, I don't know. I don't personally get it, but I know a lot of people get really freaked out by the sea, by a deep, vast ocean. So that's
me. That's me. Yep.
That game must be horrifying for you.
I didn't play it. I did not play. I just don't play it. That's how it works.
Yeah, that game has
like for Christmas.
That game has like a VR headset. VR Subnautica. Is that game
selling it on eBay?
Play it in VR. I don't know. We gotta fit. We'll find a way. We got the technology.
Oh my god. Yeah, that would be your worst nightmare. It's a really cool game though. Genuinely, the premise of the game is cool. Like even for I think the game's from 2014. Random guess off the top of my head, but the graphics in it are really good. The whole premise is great. You've crashed, and then you have to try and find a way to contact another ship that's kind of nearby, but doesn't really know what's going on. So there's kind of like a pseudo story. There's no NPCs or anything, but you vaguely use a ship AI to help you like find stuff. Maybe you won't spoil for anyone who hasn't played because it's really cool. Like certain structures and do stuff like that. Yeah, great game, fantastic game.
You know, in that same vein, like Minecraft. Like it's just so unique of a game, right? I mean, love it or hate it, like you have to admit,
power.
Yeah, you can't deny it is by itself.
Oh. Oh dear, Peter, you've had a technical difficulty.
Robot?
Yeah, you're back.
I mean, you talk about the graphics of a game, right? But like it's the complete opposite. The graphics are just retro looking, right? Like it's out of the 90s. And yet, because of the gameplay, they add this depth to like the crafting system and stuff, right? And they have this very emergent gameplay from it. And there's just so much you can just build houses if you want, or you can go out and survive, or finish the story, or what have you, like and it's no wonder it's one of the most successful games just because of how accessible it is, right?
So accessible,
right?
Back when I was
we need more of that.
Back when I was young, you could play like a official free Minecraft in the browser. I think that was deleted years ago. Do you remember that, Clyde?
I do. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a
Java client.
But it was like very stripped down. I think it was like only flat or like a very simple land, and you just kind of it didn't have like any of the features that even like the earliest actual client did. It was just like stripped down. That was a funny time. Yeah, that game dominated because it, like you said, it was so accessible. You can do whatever you want in it. It looks kind of cutesy. It doesn't look like, intimidating at all.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's a shame. Hopefully, I want good things for Subnautica too. Before we move on from this
I think that game would be great. Yeah, go ahead.
Either way, whether or not, depending on how much longer we go, I do want to ask y'all one last question on this topic, which is, do you think this is a net positive or negative for Subnautica 2? Like, is all these eyeballs on this story dooming Subnautica 2 to obscurity? Is it dooming it to flop? Or is it having the adverse effect? And it's like the Trump effect, where the more, even if it's negative news, everybody's talking about it, so maybe more people will buy it that wouldn't have otherwise bought it.
Oh, 100% net negative. No matter how it goes in terms of the lawsuit or in terms of the payout, it's going to mar the way people see the game when it comes out. If it comes out,
I don't know about that, because on one hand, it's getting publicity. You can't deny that it's getting publicity. If people didn't know that Subnautica had a sequel, they do now, right? And so like it's getting the name out at the very least. But the thing is, this isn't the developers, this is the parent company doing this shit, right? So like you can't really get mad at the developers over it.
Oh no.
And therefore you can't really get mad at the game over it, So I feel like it's not as transferable to the game as some other controversies might be, So I feel like it could actually benefit more than it would lose, because because you know a lot of times when people will boycott something for shit, it's because like the game did something fucked up or the developers did something. But in this case,
Right.
it's half and half. It's the developers and the company. So you can whether you're on one side or the other, you're only on 50% of it, right? So there's the other half that you have to deal with. So that's my take. So
Yeah,
I really think I'm not gonna say it's helping it, but like I said, it's getting the name out there, and depending on this lawsuit, I feel like that would be the most significant, because if it rules against the developers and they don't get this bonus, I could totally see people saying they just fucked over the developers. I'm not buying your game, right?
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if the developers win, then I can see people going, "All right, devs got it right. Fuck you, company. Like let's play Subnautica." Right?
Also, what I'm thinking of is, imagine the universe where it comes out in 2025 and it's very buggy.
Mm.
Then we start to ask, like, did they have a point? Even though obviously, considering that there might be literally evidence of them conspiring against delaying the game deliberately, this might not matter.
Right.
This might not matter. But theoretically, if it does come out and it's buggy and it turns out that the higher ups were maybe onto something, then that would be pretty awkward. But obviously, that I feel like that's on like just a very specific. That's a very specific scenario.
But only because we're trusting the devs over the parent company. I would always assume that they're right just because. Just who they are. Yeah, but also taking into consideration all the facts, that I'd say, yeah, and I'm willing to bet that they won't release that buggy of a game.
Yeah,
I'm curious. I'm very, very curious to see the state that it launches in and what the reception is. I mean, I'm expecting Steam to get hit with review bombs, but I'm curious to see what the general media and press look at it and have, if fans like it. I'm curious to see how it goes. So.
Yeah, they were planning for early access though, weren't they?
I think it still is. No matter how it releases, it'll be early access. The first game was early access for a long time.
So they have a little bit of wiggle room for a non-perfect product. Whereas someone like Capcom putting out Monster Hunter Wilds, and that stayed on PC, completely unforgivable, right?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Did you see the pictures of the people, like the characters, like had 3 polygon faces, and they were like,
I have screenshots of that. Yeah. Like when I load into a map, like everyone looks like they're like on a PS1 game, and I'm like, screenshot, and it's like, oh god. And I'll send it to my friend.
I don't feel so good.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So I feel like it's gonna have to be pretty terrible to come out for people to be like, oh yeah, the parent company was right,
That's just not going to happen, is it? That's just not. That's not.
No,
that's
yeah.
not
but I feel like it's not even something worth talking about, because odds are they're just greedy fucking bastards.
Yeah.
Like, who'd have thought, a parent company just being greedy?
Well,
just fits the bill.
Yeah, that's that. Subnautica 2.
With talk about
Well, I was going to say, yeah. With the brief time we have left, I would like to talk about a game, which is Ready or Not, which is a game that I love. I've loved for a really long time. Are either of you familiar with Ready or Not?
I'm not. I've not seen it before.
Oh, you never heard of it? That's interesting.
No,
Peter, you have?
Looking at it. I'm looking at it now.
Mm-hmm. Peter, you said you are familiar?
Yeah, that's like the what I want to say, kind of like a tactical.
It's Milsim.
Milsim. There you go. Kind of Milsim. Kind of Rainbow Six style. Kind of.
So Ready or Not is a Milsim police simulator. SWAT specifically. If you ever played the old SWAT games, it's basically a spiritual successor to those. And in a way, it's also kind of a spiritual successor to the classic single player Rainbow Six games. I imagine both of you probably played some of those, or at least familiar.
Yep.
It's very similar in terms of format to those games, and it's fantastic. I bought the supporter edition of it, which was very expensive, in order to play it early, years and years and years ago. And back then, it was very positively received, and it has been relatively positively received for a long time. The game is famous for being unapologetically brutal. That's been one of its biggest, standout factors over the years. It features very touchy subjects, but subjects that are real, and police officers or SWAT officers or military have to deal with sometimes. These are the kinds of jobs that people go on. I can't really say all of it on YouTube. There's nudity, incredibly deprived behavior is in the game. And this is where some controversy begins. The game's been having this controversy for some time now, maybe like a year or longer, but it really came to head recently because up until now, Ready or Not has been only on PC. A few days ago, earlier this month in July, it released on console. Okay, so this is kind of where things start to go to shit. Because in preparation for launching the game on console, the game has sort of slowly been being censored for a long time now, to the point of removing some of the particularly deprived things in the game. So some of the gore was toned down slightly to the point where it just kind of looks worse, like less punchy, and the blood sort of looks a little bit more gamey now. I think that's the best way to describe it. They made everything just a little bit more gamey. Whereas before, the game was incredibly realistic. Like, the act of just like killing someone was very visceral. It was like, it really felt like, you're making a decision to take people's life in this game. It's very realistic. Great. So yeah, censored some things like gore. Nudity was, I think, completely removed to the point where people can't be naked in the game anymore. All these things can be fixed by mods on PC, but that's not really the point, right? The point is that the developers have been changing this in the official product. There's also some sensitive topics involving minors, which has been severely neutered and changed to the point where certain features, pieces of evidence, artwork, paint, photographs have been removed or changed to the point where they really don't give anything away anymore. Aside from the censorship, the game has also been actually quite considerably graphically downgraded on PC. This happens, because I've noticed this happened to a few indie games before where they make a console version, or this also happened with a game that was on Oculus and they wanted to release it for Quest, which is basically the same situation. The Quest was like, obviously, Oculus. Sorry, it was originally on Oculus, like plugged into your PC, but they wanted to release it on Quest. So as a result, they had to downgrade both versions of the game. That was a really small game called Onward, so it didn't really cause much of a fuss. But people who played it were like, I paid for this game. How are you going to make the graphics worse? And now Ready or Not is going through the same thing, but on a much larger scale, because Ready or Not has a.
So the PC version got a graphics downgrade because the console version did?
Yes, and the PC version also contains all of the censorship changes as well.
No way.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The graphics on PC, I don't know if it's a bug or if they are. I know it's a small team. They're called Void Interactive, and they're not. The game is kind of running on fumes. I know that much. I know they struggle with updates and stuff. I know when the console version was coming out, people were worried because they have trouble supporting a game as it is. Never mind the PC version and the console version. That was a worry that people had. So yeah, because I've been getting back into it recently because of all the fuss around, it's made me want to play it. Still love it. I've had a great time with it. Me and my friends have been on it again. It's fantastic. Yeah, on PC I noticed like there's a lot of textures have been flattened a lot. I play on like ultra everything, so it's not like any settings or anything. It's not. I don't have frame gen or FSR or anything like that. It's all like default ultra settings. And sometimes the game just looks fucked. Like they very clearly did some rushed changes in there, like. Let's just make this wall have no texture. This wall has no texture. These wheels have are made out of like a single polygon. This, and that. Like it's very clearly gone in and scrubbed stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Thoughts, anyone?
I'm curious. I want to ask Sean. My apologies, Peter. I didn't mean to cut you off. Plus, you've got a cat in your arms that is deeply craving your affection right now. The cat is gazing at you like, "Papa, please." But I wanted to ask Sean. how do you feel about the censorship that's taking place here for this game? Is the censorship one of the things that really rubs you the wrong way on this
Personally,
topic, or is it the yeah?
Personally, I really don't care. For me, the gameplay is what's kept me interested in the game for so long. That's why I supported the game with extra money from the very beginning, because the game was like nothing else. It really is like nothing else. There's other milsim games out there, but there's no other milsim game out there where you're actively discouraged from killing people whenever possible. It's a very specific game. It's interesting the way it works. You have to arrest everyone. You have to pick up everyone's guns and package them for evidence. You have to arrest civilians, even if you know they're harmless, because for all you know, they could run over and pick a knife. Grab a knife. This stuff happens all the time in real life and in the game. So you have to really. It's really like just being a police officer, where you have to follow the rules of engagement. You can't shoot someone. If you shoot someone and they haven't pointed the gun at you, it'll be counted as an unjustified kill. That's how the game works, which puts you in tight situations, because there'll be lots of people holding guns, but they won't all point them at you. Some of them will surrender. Some of them will surrender quickly. Some of them will surrender in 30 seconds. Some of them might need some motivation, like a pepper ball to the face, my favorite, to surrender. Some of them will just immediately try and take your head off, and they have quite good aim sometimes. Anyway, yeah, plays in the game. Personally, censorship of like pictures and evidence and the very sensitive subjects, I don't really care. For me, that's not why I loved the game. It was a nice bonus, like how visceral the game is, how realistic the game is, how real worldy it felt. But no, for me, that's not a deal breaker at all. But I do agree with the precedent that we should get the product that we were advertised. And I agree, especially when it comes to graphics, I think it's inexcusable to downgrade the game from the product that people paid, in some cases, a good chunk of cash for. So I feel like this is it's like it's kind of similar to the stop killing games or whatever, or topics along that line. It's like what do you pay for when you buy a game? It's a conversation that's very complicated. If I paid for Ready or Not when it looked great back in the day, when it had better graphics than it does now, when it was less buggy than it is now, then am I entitled to a refund? That's kind of the question. I've seen some people at the Reddit.
It was less buggy when it came out.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention as well as the graphics downgrades and the censors. There's some new bugs in the game. Some of them are really bad. Like earlier today,
downgrades and introducing bugs.
Yeah, earlier today, I had to quit out of 2 runs in a row because of a run-ending bug. Sometimes runs are like longer than 30 minutes. At one point, I couldn't arrest someone, which is mandatory. If you want the full completion of a level, you have to have everyone accounted for. He just had no prompt. My AI were all like shouting at him as if he wasn't surrendering. It was clearly bugged. Had to restart the whole run. Next run, I couldn't interact with doors. These are both bugs that are like noted. The community are like, these are like must fix ASAP. These are game and these are game breaking bugs. Really bad. Yeah, that's probably one of the worst things about the situation. The introduction of bugs that didn't exist before, or at least haven't for years.
Yeah, I can see why the community would be pissed. I'd be pissed.
Oh, they're so mad.
Like, dang.
The Reddit is in full doomer mode. The Reddit is like is trying to get everyone to like mass refund request the game. I don't know if I'd be that dramatic, but I understand the frustration of having a game be censored, graphically downgraded, and bugified in all at once. Yeah, very interesting. I thought it was worth bringing up because it's a very strange situation, and it's very specific to Ready or Not, because that game has taken, I think this is all partially due to the fact that game has taken a lot of heat from like, I don't know how to say it, like just outside sources for how realistic it is. There's a lot of, some people had issues with how realistic the game is and whether stuff like that should be allowed in games or not. For example, one of the more touchy ones is the fact that there is a school shooting level, and school shootings in video games are very controversial. I think we all know this.
Oh yeah,
from other games that have done similar things.
You know what's worse than that? School shootings in actual schools.
I knew you were going to say that shit. Fuck you. Yeah, it is. So a lot of people say. Like, why do we need censorship? Why do we need censorship when there's games like all these horror games that have like just grievous bodily harm in them and like just terrible things and just deprived behavior in horror games and stuff. And I understand, but also I do think it's different considering the fact that everything that happens in Ready or Not is based in complete reality. I do think that's a difference. Like, I think there's a difference between Outlast and Ready or Not, because Ready or Not, like, Outlast is fictional. Like, Outlast is completely fictional to the point where all the monsters and stuff are like sci-fi in Outlast. But when you in regards to a game like Ready or Not, it's replicating things that do happen all the time and are very sensitive. Does that kind of make sense? So I don't think that justifies censorship. I think Ready or Not is very respectful. Ready or Not it's a great game. It's very respectful to the subjects that it does bother to touch on. It takes great care, and the things that are in the game are only in the game because they knew it would make for a great mission, right? They're not just out here like, wouldn't it be cool if there was like kids dying? Wouldn't it be cool if there was like these drugs and this gore? Like, but no, they wanted to make it as realistic of a SWAT game as possible. That's why the game is the way it is. There's no like.
John, was that your best American accent?
Yeah.
Like, wouldn't it be cool if there were kids dying? Damn, that was like that one cut deep to the bone, man. Like Peter and I are over here like, damn, he really thinks we're just like crazy over here.
No, don't put that out.
Is he wrong?
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's just we seldom hear it spoken aloud. Yeah.
Anyway, geez. Yeah, that's the Ready or Not situation. It's in a lot of heat right now. I think it's mostly negative on Steam currently.
Jeez. Yeah, that is a dumpster fire.
It's insane.
I mean, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, Peter? I want to hear you unload.
Well, the thing about censorship is, I know you say that it's not a big deal to you because you're then in it for the gameplay, but you also mentioned that it's part of what makes it so visceral.
Oh, 100%.
It's a very important factor of it, and because of that, it's something that really it shouldn't be so just hand waved off like it's nothing, and like you said, it's so important just to drive in that realism and just to have it pulled out. And like a lot of Japanese games are going through with this, a lot of I think anime too as well. Like when it gets in the West, they a lot of censorship. Sometimes it's just like, their clothes are too revealing or something like that. It's really weird how much they're having to do that. And I know there's, like you said, there's like in your game where it's specific, it's for the realism, whereas other times it's just kind of frivolous, like let's just put some boobs here or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And I'm someone who thinks whether it's something that is very poignant, very properly used, just very deliberate, versus something that's just kind of fan servicey, I feel both the same way. Like they deserve to be there because it's a part of the product. It's what the artist wanted. If whether you hate it or not, that's up to you. That's whether it's personal preference. You can't do anything about that. But they're right to include that in their product, I think, is very important, because like you said, like it's so important to Ready or Not that it has that visceralness to it. Yeah. And some people would argue, have a similar argument to their favorite game or show or something like that, that it really is necessary, and there, of course, there's different levels to that. And but yeah, just at the base, it's put there for most of the time. It's put there for a reason, and it's part of the experience, and it's something you can give or take. And just to have it so willy-nilly removed, it really hurts the integrity of the game. It kind of insults the creators who make it, and like you said about how it's really disturbing with how real it is, mm-hmm. and yet it's so important to get that, to drive that in, right?
Yeah.
Like it's using it to help amplify, right? I mean, And so it's just another tool that they have. And this is why it exists, you know, because it's real. Oh, kitty. Because it is real, and it has to do with reality. And like, you know, sometimes things are nasty. Sometimes people are naked. Sometimes they cuss. Sometimes fucked up shit happens, and it's part of the experience. It's like, you know, reading an adult novel, and it has all this crazy stuff in it. You know, imagine if they took all the violence out of books. You know, like it's just part of the story. It's part of the experience. It's the conflict. It's the shock value, right? I mean, for every instance you can point at and say that was completely unnecessary, you can point at to another thing and said that really sold it for me, right?
Yeah.
Like
And what one
that
person
wouldn't have hit nearly as hard if it wasn't for that.
That definitely is true. It's definitely taking away from someone's experience out there.
Yeah,
Because when you get to these things are normally like at the end of level as well, like in the basements, like in the most horrific dark alleys of the map.
Yeah.
You'll find like
right.
You'll find something fucked up, and you'll be like, oh my god, okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's a tool, and like some people use tools well, some people use tools badly. But in the end, it's a tool. It's a part of a kit, and when you remove it, then you know you're taking so much more with it. And the thing is, they pull it. The whole reason they're taking it away is these very flimsy, you know, people, it upsets people, or you know, like it's very, people don't like nudity. What if children see it? Like there's so many ways around all these excuses they give for it. You know, give it a higher rating if you think it's inappropriate. You know, there's ways around this without removing it. Put an option in the game to, you know, say no nudity or no blood or something like that. Like these things exist to get around it, so people can experience it if they want to, and if people don't, they have the option. It's not just some G rating forced on everyone because somebody complained, because the 10% were really loud about it. Now we can't experience the game it was meant to be experienced.
I think you are definitely you are like the Ready or Not spokesperson right now. Like this is all of their talking points. I think is exactly like exactly what you're saying.
Yeah,
right now.
I'm totally against censorship in media, man. Like it's so crazy. Like because and I've said it, and I know I'm repeating it myself. It's there for a reason. The artist put it there, and it's part of his product. And you're doing him a disservice when you do that. And you're not giving him the whole cookie. You're giving him a cookie with bits and pieces and pieces missing out of it. You know.
It's also the fact that like it's just that the game is so good and has such good such nice graphics. Well, did sorry, I should say did before the update. That
before the update,
it's sad thinking that it's like no matter how much you enjoy the game, you just know they took something. Like, you know that it could have looked cool. It could have been more brutal. The graphics could have looked better. You know, and that's like that feels like the game has been tampered with by external factors. So it can't be the best game that it could be.
And I know that feeling like when you get to the part where it's gone and like you're no longer immersed in the game. Because when you get to that part where you know it's missing, suddenly, boom, you're playing a game and you're playing a game that's missing stuff, and like it's so conscious now that now you enjoy the game less, you know?
Yeah.
Less than if it was your first time playing it and you didn't even know it wasn't there. Now it's even worse because you know what could have been there, right?
Yeah.
I know we don't have a lot of time for this week, but next week I would love for us to come back to this topic because censorship in games is a huge question mark right now. And I honestly I agree with everything you're saying, Peter. I would love to push your intuitions around a little bit. I'd love to put the fork in you and see like how far will you allow something to be uncensored. So
Clyde,
next week we could come back to this.
We can talk about the broad topic next week, but like, what are your thoughts on everything Peter just said?
Yeah, I in terms of Ready or Not and the game today that is in people's hands, I completely agree, and I think that it's a shame that they're being asked to censor for the sake of a console release or some kind of, console expectation. I think that's ridiculous, and I think it's a shame. And I honestly, if I was a player, I'd be pissed. I'd be absolutely pissed. I'd be like, hey, like I'd feel bait and switched. I feel like you guys sold me something and then you changed it. And there's also like a really cynical part of my brain that's uh, people are gonna cry about nudity or violence, but it's like those things are just out there. They're just like they just exist on PlayStation. Like you can't make a perfectly sanitized ecosystem no matter how
Yeah.
hard you try.
Yeah.
And it seems like it's very a futile practice anyway. So not only are we not really getting any, you're not making kids any safer, but you're just screwing up the game. Like you're just screwing up the Ready or Not, and that sucks. And like low key, like not to be controversial, Clyde, for a second, but like more harm has been done to kids in Roblox than has ever been done from a kid seeing a booby in Grand Theft Auto. Like
100%.
there
Yeah.
have been so many kids that have been traumatized by bad adults and actors in Roblox in Minecraft than any nudity in any game. So like the whole thing just seems very performative to me, and I'm very against it. But I do think there's a bigger conversation about game censorship, and I would love to I'm gonna like do some nasty homework. I'm gonna come up with like really 5 scenarios, and I'm like, tell me which of these games you would ban, if any, Peter. And or I'll bring a list of fake games, and y'all can tell me.
Oh,
We're gonna make a game show out of it next week.
Let's do it.
100%. Good idea.
I want to put an end cap on it.
Yeah.
The thing about stuff that's censored is and you're onto this, Sean. It's the reality. It's stuff that's real, right? Like if you think more about it, like the big bullet points right at the top, nudity, right? Like right up there. We're all wearing clothes and stuff, but like our natural forms are nude, right? Like that's the thing, and this is a really touchy subject, and we can get into this much deeper later. But just like nudity doesn't always equal sexual, right?
Yes.
Like, and art shows you this, like especially classic art. Like like if you ever seen those Greek marble statues, like they look incredible. And the artwork is just pristine, and they're naked, and like it's not sexual, right? And like I feel like there's ways to appreciate the human body that just because you're looking at someone naked doesn't mean that it's inappropriate, right? There's ways that it doesn't have to. And in the same stance, obviously naked is something that we're wearing clothes because we don't want to be naked around each other. It's something that there's a shock value to it, and so that's also part of what it's there, like. And that's sometimes that's why they're using it, like Sean said, the shock value of seeing someone naked, Yeah. And same thing with blood, blood is real. When you get cut, what happens? You bleed. That's life. Like that's just happens. It's happened for millions of years, and yet we can't see this because it's violent. It'll I don't know. I don't understand the arguments against it as much. But the thing is, it's just that it's something that is, and we're trying to just cover it up and deny it and ignore it. And just the fact that this is something that is reality itself, and we're trying to act like it doesn't exist, and like that makes it better, and it doesn't. And sure, you can talk about how it's used excessively in a lot of times, but like I said before, it's just, and it's how they use it.
Well, those things are definitely not used excessively in the context of Ready or Not. Just to clarify, they're used very.
Yeah. Oh, I don't blame. I'm just saying in general.
And I was just saying,
there's some games that just excessively use blood.
Of course,
there's animes that just insert a bunch of sexuality and nudity or cleavage or whatever. There's tons of gray area. I'm just talking in general. Like why is it censored and how it's used and why it affects us like it does when it does. It's something very, very visceral, something very very primitive in us. When we see blood and we know that it means danger and it's scary and it pulls something out of us. Same thing with nudity. We kind of get something from seeing that very basic, that very vulnerable side of a human, right?
Yeah.
And so that's something that they can use to help tell a story or or set a scene, and it's just taking that, and it's like taking that beautiful marble statue, from Greek, and then just putting a big black bar over it, right? Can you imagine? Yeah. Like that's what censorship feels like to me.
You probably don't have this in the UK, but like in America, there are actual educators that think like we shouldn't even show Greek statues to children because they have a tit exposed or genitalia exposed. There are actually people who are trying to legislate keeping any kind of nudity or art out of any classroom ever anywhere because of this. Like these are actual conversations that take place in America. Our censorship conversation is so extreme here in our culture that it's like there are people who are just they're afraid teenagers' brains will melt if they see a boob. Like that's how extreme it is in America, at least.
I understand. Yeah. Obviously, in terms of education and things like Greek statues, as a fantastic example. Naked statues, they're great. They're very good. They're very artistic, and they're very important historically, obviously. Mm-hmm. But I do think that I don't know how this relates to like Ready or Not. That's my thing, though. Because the difference with Ready or Not, as I said earlier, is the context and like how immersive the game is. Because there's a difference between a naked Greek statue and a naked slave, dirty, locked in a room, running around screaming for her life with people trying to kill her. It's so dark. It's so dark and it's so real. That because obviously it's not the thing. It's not the fact that someone's naked that's the problem, and it's not the fact that there's loads of blood that's the problem. It's the whole thing. The whole thing is triggering people. Like the higher ups and stuff. It's the whole real, like the school shooting. The act of it, because the school shooting in Ready or Not is like college kid. It's not very young children, obviously. But like the point I'm trying to make is like it's so real. That's the fact that's. The culmination of all those things is what's pissing people off. Like, instead of it, obviously there's nothing wrong with seeing a dick or like some tits.
Well, that's kind of the point I was making with how it's not like always sexual to see a naked body, and just like in your context, they're not doing it to make the player aroused.
No, not
they're doing it, and they're doing it to add a punch to the scene, to drive something in, to really make something that hits them more emotionally than otherwise. Same thing with the blood. They're not trying to gross out the player. They're just trying to give them a sense of like, this is how terrifying it is. This is what you would see. This is part of the scene. We're not gonna hide it because this is what it is.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. Like what you just said is what some people, which I kind of disagree with anyway. But that's what some people disagree with. It's not the sexual arousal or anything, or the fact of seeing someone naked. It's the I've kind of repeated myself a few times, but
it's the reality of it. The reality, the grim, the gritty reality, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's a really cool game, or at least it was. But I mean, I still obviously I've had a blast on it over the last few days. But obviously, I'm looking past all this stuff, which is my decision. Like I can look past all that stuff and I can have a good time. But I can't. You can't ignore the fact that things were taken. Things were taken from us. So.
And now their doors are buggy, and
now the doors are fucking buggy. That might be the most annoying thing of all. The doors are fucking buggy, and some people don't get arrested.
I'm not surprised at the censorship as much as I'm against it. I'm surprised at the downgrade of the graphics.
It's really bad.
That just shocks me. I don't know if I've ever seen that before in a game.
I'll show you. I'll show you after we end recording. But there's people on Reddit have posted loads of examples, like before and after examples, and some of them are shocking.
Pull it on the screen.
Yeah, that will do.
Yeah.
I'll pull them up on the screen like earlier when I was talking about it. And then
that's the most unbelievable thing to me, because bugs being introduced. It's rare, but
happens.
It happens. But holy shit, graphical downgrades. Wow.
Like I said, I actually have seen it happen before. I don't want to repeat myself too many times, but I have seen it happen before in that VR game. That was the first time I ever saw that. The VR game called Onward, which is actually a similar it's not police, it's just a milsim game, like doing scenarios, but it's VR, which is all Milsim games in VR are great. I love all of them. All the Milsim VR games are like, whew, they're amazing. But they wanted to release it on Quest, which is the headset only VR, where you don't plug it into a PC. It's standalone is the word I'm looking for. So they downgraded the graphics on both versions.
I'm just shocked they didn't have like a separate version for that,
No.
Or like they put in a slider that
it must be such limited resources. Yeah.
But like I just don't understand how they couldn't have just
it's crazy.
Changed the version, like it's oh man. Yeah.
Anyway, we yapped the fuck out of that.
All right.
Think we're all good.
Yeah.
Happy to wrap up, gentlemen.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
definitely nail that one.
Once again, thank you, Clyde, for coming. Again, you'll be at the top of the description as always. Go and check out Clyde's channel. And thanks, Peter, man. Of course.
Always happy to be here. It's always fun chatting games. I give you my word. Next week, I will bring a censorship Lollapalooza extravaganza, and I will throw 10 funny, interesting gaming scenarios at Sean and Peter, and we'll see if they would censor or not censor. I'm really curious.
Great idea. Where we should do stuff like that more often in general. Just like bring some weird, I don't know, quiz or scenarios to the podcast. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure we'll also talk about censorship in games too, but I really want to put the skewers to these two and find where the line is in their brains. So it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll hold you to it.
See you next week.
All right. See ya.